Welcome to your second HTML5 tutorial. There's one thing I didn't cover in the previous tutorial that I will cover now, is that if you decided to use Edit Plus, there's one setting we want to turn off to prevent unnecessary files in our web development folder. And that would be the backup files. So this check mark here is where you want to uncheck. Basically what this does is that if you have it checked, every time you save a document, it's going to save a backup of that document in the directory that you saved the file. So if you don't have a directory in here, then it's going to save it in wherever you put it. So like right now we have it in our web development folder, the new page.htm, and so it'll create a new page.htm.bac, which is a backup of it. We don't want that, so we're just going to turn it off. And then that way we won't see unnecessary files in our web development folder. Now with that out of the way, our web page is looking pretty plain right now, so we'll add some more content to it. We'll create a header tag. And inside that we're going to put a logo. So let's see, we'll just name our website My Website. Let's change the title as well. Alright, so we'll use an H1 tag, which basically will make this text bigger than the other text on our page. The header tag just makes it easier to read, and it's something we're going to add on future web pages that we add to our website. So now that we have saved our document, let's check out and see what we have. Alright, so we got our title, which is My Website. We also got the title up here where it says My Website as well. And then we also have our Hello World, which appears under our title text. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce to you something that all web developers use, Lorem Ipsum. This is basically filler text, and it's something we'll use in this tutorial for now. So you can go to the website lipsum.com, and I already generated about 5 paragraphs of this. So basically we're just going to copy the first paragraph, and then we'll add it into our web page, and then save it. The nice thing about HTML5 is that we are provided a lot of tags that we can use to organize our content. So let's make this first paragraph of Lorem Ipsum a section. And we'll also put it in a P tag as well, which stands for paragraph. Let's also add a subheading as well, so we'll use an H6 for this. You can use H1, H2, all the way up to H6. And basically H1 is the biggest and H6 is the smallest. Okay, that looks good. Let's check out and see what we have. So basically we have our logo still, which is My Website. We have our subtitle, and then we have our paragraph. Okay, now that I look at it, I don't think we'll use an H6. We'll probably just change that to an H3. So let's go ahead and make that change now, and then we'll see how that looks. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Something else I wanted to point out with HTML is that the web browser does not care how many times we have our content spaced. So like we can tab out these on here, make it a little bit easier to read. And also if you were to add extra spaces on here, it's only going to read the first space between the words. So like we have spaces between all these words on here. But if we were to add more spaces, like right here, then it's not going to achieve what we want. All this is basically going to do is read the first space and ignore the rest. What we want to do is use what is called an HTML entity. So our entity, which in this case is going to be our NBSP, and it's going to achieve what we want, which is to indent the paragraph. So we'll just add a couple of these in, And this is basically going to indent it a couple of spaces, make it look actually like a paragraph. So we'll save this, go to Chrome, and then you can see that we now have our paragraph indented a couple of spaces. Another useful tag when working with HTML is the BR tag, which stands for break. And basically this tag will drop the text after it onto a new line. So we'll just put that tag in on here. And so this particular tag is what is called automatic closing tag. And in HTML5, you either could write it out this way, or you could just simply write it out this way. Either way would work. But if you're going to be porting over to HTML5, you might want to use this instead. And then that way you don't have to go back into your document and change it all to this if you happen to do that later down the road. So let's copy our next paragraph of Lorem Ipsum, and we'll see what we get. So we'll just take this, and then just paste it after our BR tag, and then save it. As you can see, it dropped the next paragraph onto the next line. We're also going to be creating a new paragraph in this document just to demonstrate how it will look. So we'll go ahead and add our P tags in, and then we'll go ahead and copy the third paragraph of Lorem Ipsum, and then paste it in. Let's go ahead and save this, and we'll see how it looks in Chrome. So you can see it added spacing to the end of the first paragraph. So when you look at the code, this is our first paragraph right here, and this is our second paragraph. And see what P tags, what it does is it adds spacing at the bottom so that it separates them out. Alright, let's actually make our web page into a website. We're going to create a link to a new page that we'll be creating, and then add our content onto it. Let's look at the code. Anybody want to guess what this is? It's called an attribute, and it describes what the data is supposed to do. So in this case, our data, when clicked, will go to this page once we create it, of course. So our A for anchor tag is for creating links to other pages on our website. So when you look in Chrome, we can see that we have a link, but we're not going to click it yet. We would need to create the page first so we don't get an error message. Let's create that second page now. So we'll just open a new document and start making our page. I recommend typing out the code from scratch rather than copying and pasting so you can better learn HTML. Alright, so we got basically the format of our page. We'll go ahead and save it. And since we had our link pointing to new page 2, that's what we'll save our document as. And you want to make sure to save it in the same directory as you have your new page on here. Otherwise, it's not going to go to it. So now that we have that saved, we'll go back to Chrome, and then we'll click our link, and it's going to take us basically to a blank page. But you can see it took us to newpage2.html, which is what we have here. Alright, so that's basically what we'll cover in the second tutorial for now. In the next tutorial, we'll be learning how to put images on our pages and all that fun stuff.